Hello, my name is Sayed Ali Avcu. I'm a faculty member at Yıldırım Beyazıt University in Ankara. Today I will talk about Turkish-Iranian relations after the Arab Spring and throughout the 20th century. Okay. All right. Iran and Turkey are the neighbors. They are both situated in the Middle East, and they are regional powers with Saudi Arabia. And my research question is that, and which is also puzzle, the relations between Iran and Turkey have been generally peaceful since the establishment of the modern states in the early 20th century, but sometimes have also been strained. The question is that how can we explain the periods of good and periods of bad relations? And why matters? Why is it important? Iran and Turkey are large countries and neighbors who share almost 600 kilometers border. They are major trade partners. Iran is the second energy provider to Turkey after Russia. And their trade volume is about $10 billion. Iran and Turkey are regional powers. It is important for them to have a good relations for them and for the region. Periods in history since the World War I. I divided the relations into several periods. One period that starts with 1923 until 1941. During this period is that both Turkey and Iran were ruled by modernizing autocrats. Turkey was established, modern Turkish Republic was established after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire in 1923 by Atatürk. And Atatürk ruled Turkey autocratically till 1938. And Reza Pahlavi came to power in Iran in 1925 and ruled till 1941. And the second period is World War II, which is extraordinary period. And the third period is between 1950 and 1971, and both countries were Western allies. And the fourth period is between 1979 till 2002, since Iranian Revolution till the Justice and Development Party of Turkey came to power. And the fifth period is that between 2002 and 2011 till the Arab Spring. And the last period is after 2011 till now. If you look at the first period between 1923 and 1941, as I said, both countries were ruled by modernizing autocrats. During this period is that both countries are relatively independent, and Turkey just gained independence in 1923, and Iran was also independent country. And both countries went through state and nation building, and they implemented strict secularism and modernization. On April 22nd, 1926, the first treaty of friendship between Iran and Turkey was signed in Tehran. On 23rd, January 1932, the first definitive frontier treaty between Turkey and Iran was signed in Tehran. Between June 16 and July 2nd, 1934, Reza Shah Pahlavi visited Turkey, and it was said that Reza Shah Pahlavi admired Atatürk for his modernizing efforts in Turkey. On July 8, 1937, a treaty of non-aggression was signed between Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. This treaty would become known as the Treaty of Sadabad. During World War II, Reza Shah rejected British and Russian demands to expel the Germans. Therefore, Allies invaded Iran in August 1941 and deposed Reza Shah and replaced him with his son, Muhammad Reza. And during World War II, Turkey remained neutral and wasn't being invaded and didn't participate in the war. After the World War II, Turkey became a multi-party democracy in 1946 and entered NATO in 1952. So Turkey became during the Cold War, Turkey was a part of a NATO pact. Iran stayed monarchy under the US influence. We need to remember that the Mossadegh affair in 1952, when Mossadegh nationalized the oil industry, and the CIA with the British intelligence agency staged a coup and deposed Mossadegh. And Reza Shah stayed in the power. During the early years of the Cold War, both countries were the Western allies. During this period, in August 1955, the Central Treaty Organization, CENTO, a mutual security pact between Iran, Turkey, Iraq, Pakistan, and Britain, was established. This was basically against the Soviet Union to prevent the expansion of Soviet Union to the south. It was a kind of belt, green belt, established in the southern Soviet borders. In July 1964, the Regional Cooperation for Development aimed at the joint economic projects between Iran, Turkey, and Pakistan was established. Of the period after the Iranian Revolution till 2002, a period of coldness passed after the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which caused major changes in Iran and the Middle Eastern status quo. Turkey and Westerners were concerned that the revolution would spread to other countries in the region. Indeed, there were Islamic groups admiring Iran in Turkey. Although the relations was bad during this time, there were some good relations because of the necessity. Turkey needed energy. In 1990s, Turkey signed energy deals with Iran despite protests from the United States and Western allies. During the short period of religious Prime Minister Necmettin Erbakan's, the relations improved. Between 2002 and 2011, Iran and Turkey have been in good relations since the beginning of the Justice and Development Party, Turkish acronym is AKP, came to power. Let me talk about a little bit nature of the AKP, because this is important for the Turkish foreign policy as well. AKP was an internal coalition at the beginning, and this coalition was established by Erdogan, and he brought several constituencies under his leadership. One of these was the religious bourgeoisie. These groups were newly industrialized Anatolian town that were export-oriented. Trade, they wanted to trade regardless of ideology or regime type, and they wanted to minimize the conflicts that hinder trade. That's why Turkey had zero problems with the neighbors policy for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at the leadership of Erdogan and his colleagues, they entered into politics as Erbakan's protege. And the former Prime Minister Erbakan had his ideology was a national view. This meant that anti-imperialist, good relations with Islamic world, rejection of Western alliance, favoring the oppressed and the weak, and requiring justice, liberation of oppressed nations such as Palestine, favoring national economy, favoring import substitution industrializations. During the first 10 years of AKP government, that is more likely more fueled by the need of the bourgeoisie and increase the trade and good relations with the neighbors. This changed after the Arab Spring, as we will see. Let me talk about a little bit about middle power diplomacy. The idea of middle powers as distinct from great or major powers on the one hand and small powers on the other, being potentially significant actors in international affairs, has been traced back to the Jan Smuts writing about the League of Nations in 1918. A definition of middle power is that there are some objective criteria like GDP, population size, physical size, and military capability. But on the other hand, there are also some subjective criteria, such as perceived economic and potential significance, or perhaps much more normatively, the degree of general respect such countries command. How these countries behave in international arena, middle power countries. Their tendency to pursue multilateral solutions to international problems, their tendency to embrace compromise positions in international disputes, and their tendency to embrace notions of good international citizenship to guide their diplomacy. These middle power diplomacy worked and resulted with a deal between Brazil and Turkey. This was the Brazilian-Turkish nuclear deal. The good relations between Iran and Turkey peaked when Brazilian and Turkish government officials had brokered a tentative compromise with Iran in the international standoff over Iran's nuclear program, a development that could undermine efforts in the United Nations to impose new sanctions on Iranians. However, the Brazilian-Turkish deal failed because it had been dismissed so readily by the United States and its allies. These good relations began to deteriorate because Turkey, the largest NATO member in the region, hosted the establishment of a NATO missile shield in September 2011 in eastern Turkey. Iran claimed that the NATO missile shield is a US plot to protect Israel from any counterattack should Israel target Iran's nuclear facilities. When the Arab Spring came, these relations between Iran and Turkey got worsened. Iran firmly backed the Syrian government, while the AKP government in Turkey has supported the Syrian opposition. Turkey was forced to make a choice um, and went back to the ideological base of the national view government. Assad was framed from uh, tyrant, brother to tyrant who oppresses his people. But things might be changing. Turkey's troops are now in both Iraq and Syria, and Iran has been criticizing both. Iran supported Erdogan's during the coup attempt on July 15, 2016. However, with the dissatisfaction over its Western allies handling Syrian crisis, Turkey might be changing its position regarding Syria and Assad. Um, and I, in this paper, I am researching as how we explain the periods of good relations and periods of bad relations between Iran and Turkey. This my dependent variable. My independent variables are that the regime types, political system, different international allies, and leadership. I have several hypotheses, and one is that Iran and Turkey are capable of solving their bilateral disagreements. Their problems usually originates from third parties. When both countries were following their own independent interests, they have good relations, such as between 1923 and 1950, and between 2002 and 2011. When both countries were the allies of the same hegemonic power, mainly the United States, they have good relations, as in during the 1950 and 1979. When both countries have different international alliance, they have bad relations. This was the case between 1979 till 2002 and between 2011 till 2016. Similar regimes tend to have good relations. If you remember the democratic peace theory, that democracies don't go to war with another. This, according to this theory, that there is no war between democracies. And this hypothesis was not confirmed because between 1950 and 1979, Iran was governed by Shah, an authoritarian government, and Turkey was a democracy. And also between 2002 and 2011, Turkey was secular government, while Iran was ruled by theocratic government. And if you look at the international relations theories, we have to look at the level of analysis. And first, at the systemic level, systemic factors are determining the relations between Turkey and Iran. And we can see this during the Cold War. Both countries were the allies of the United States, and they had good relations. And another factor is, if you look at the state level, that Turkey state level means that the domestic factors are determining the relations. Turkey's situation after 2002, which is looking for trade, determined the good relations. And if you look at the leadership level, that the leadership matters less because of the systemic powers are stronger. And my thesis is that I argue that the problems in Iran-Turkey relations are rooted differences over regional developments rather than bilateral disagreements. Turkey has been reluctant in pursuing its own national interests and following demands of its Western allies. I further argue that the more Turkey follows its own national interests, the better relations with Iran will be, and both countries can cooperate to solve the regional issues. Thank you very much. That concludes our lecture.
It's 11:30.
Okay.
And you are due to give your lectures.
My students are here.
Huh? Those are your students.
They are my students. Yay!
You can go. Спасибо, уже бүгінге не тағы бір лекция болады.
Can I take this?
Бірақ ол түрколог